Sure.
Is this thing on?
How does this work? Well, Ryan, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Dude, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is cool.
So one of the things I always like to ask my guests when we first start is kind of where you grew up, how you grew up, all those good things. So if you could kind of elaborate on the beginnings of Ryan, that would be great.
Yeah, I grew up on the east side of Vegas.
East side.
East side, baby. Desert Inn and Eastern. I was zoned for Valley High School. I took a different route, though. Just in the last few minutes of deciding in 8th grade, I auditioned for the Las Vegas Academy. There was a guitar program that was starting up there. And I wish I could say that it was because I loved guitar so much that I did it, but my girlfriend at the time in 8th grade was going from K.O. Knudsen. So I was like, yeah, we're getting married. We're going to be together forever. We got to go to high school.
Where's she at today?
I have no idea. But I'm super grateful for that because instead of going to Valley, I auditioned to get into this new guitar program. Couldn't read music. But they needed students for this new major that they were starting at the school. So the instructor, Bill Swick, let me into the program. And I grew up on the east side, then went to the academy, graduated, went to LVA, got in, did the thing. It kind of changed my life, It changed the trajectory of my life, getting the opportunity to go to the academy.
I was going to say, were you inspired to play guitar or to do music then, or did you have an inkling of like kind of that's the direction you wanted to head?
Yeah. So growing up, big brother. I have big brother Adrian. Do. I was very much inspired by him and all his friends, the boys, man. I was like, I got to be firsthand, it was like watching Saved by the Bell, but in like real life, like watching the guys, the brothers, BBH, like all the dudes. And so I was always kind of just watching patiently, waiting to like grow up and be one of the boys too.
Yeah.
My brother got into music. He wanted to be a rock star. And he had a pretty damn good voice. So it's like he started playing music, and I guess I just wanted to follow footsteps, And so he started playing, and then I was like, I'll pick up a guitar too. And I think that guitar my brother with songwriting and lyrics, much more of his forte, but I think guitar, it was like there's a deep connection with that. So going to LVA made sense, and then when I went to LVA, it made my guitar playing like really crazy. So he started the band, he started Otherwise, and I would sit in there and just watch him. I'm like, this was 8th grade, middle school.
So what year would that have been? Like he was out of high school when he started that band.
Yeah, it was about 2000 when we got I think it was a Christmas of 2000. He got a guitar and I got a keyboard.
So it was probably you were coming home from school and probably teaching him because he wasn't taking music classes. Like a lot of what he did was self-learned, correct?
Yeah. He just, just tab. There's a thing, guitar tab, and that's how you learn. That's you just would pull it up. The internet was kicking then, so it was like, oh, dude, I'm going to learn this song. I'm going to get the guitar tabs. But then I was learning, classically. I was learning how to read music, and it was cool. He's like, hey, man, once you go through puberty, you can join the band too. So I went through puberty, and
you got in.
I got in,
there
man.
You go.
I got in.
Were you ever in any other bands before that?
Yeah. Let's see. So I joined Otherwise a week before my 16th birthday. So literally 20 years ago.
Legacy.
Yeah. But before that, I played in a band very briefly with the lead singer of Panic at the Disco.
Wow.
So Brendan Urie, yeah. We met at a party, and high school party, and we were all just jamming. We were at a party, and all of a sudden he got on the piano at this house party. And he started singing Journey, and so the whole house was like just stopped and started watching this kid. And at the time, my brother was rocking. There was 2 guitar players and otherwise, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna jam with that guy, man. Yeah. Wow. He had he could sing, like, obviously he's one of the biggest singers out of Vegas, like, ever. But yeah, we jammed for a little bit, and then he got grounded, so he couldn't like we couldn't jam together anymore.
Did he go to Palo Verde?
He went to Palo Verde. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he did. He was up there in Summerlin. It was like a Summerlin party that I'd gone up to hang out at, and then we lost touch. And then like a year later, my buddy was like, "Dude, go to MySpace." And at the time, there was like rankings of bands on MySpace, and it was like Dashboard Confessional and Panic at the Disco, and he's like, "Go look at Panic at the Disco." I'm like, "Okay." Well, and he's like, "Look at the lead singer." And like, look, I'm like, Brendan Urie, holy shit. Like this kid, what? But yeah, so I jammed with him for a little bit. And then another band I was in very briefly, it was called The Lucid Standpoint. And we're just high school band, dude. We played at like a coffee shop and at the park.
Yeah.
You know, but good musicians.
Yeah. How did you come up with the name Otherwise?
My brother came up with it. I came to him in a dream. So... yeah, they were looking for a band name, and I guess something about the process of Otherwise. That was the name. The process of Otherwise was like the idea for an album title, and the band was still unnamed. And then my brother had a dream, and in the dream, someone asked him, "Hey, what's the name of your band?" He said Otherwise. So,
wow,
in a dream, man.
That's kind of awesome, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's gonna only want to know kind of what the dream was. So
yeah, there wasn't really too much to it, you know. It was just like someone asked him in the dream. You know, we've definitely had the chance to tell that story a few times. Like, hey, where did Otherwise come from? But you know, for the longest time, I never even knew what the word means. You know, like we use it, but like the dictionary meaning is like other than supposed.
Yeah.
So like we really, whether good or bad, we've like lived up to that name, you know, and it's great. That word and that name is like, oh my God, you know.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really defined. I've been defined by that word, you know.
I can imagine. Yeah. On the creativity side of things, do you have like any environments that you prefer, or how do you come up with new music? How does that all like kind of take place for you?
Yeah, so with my brother and I, when we're writing songs, for most of our careers, we've definitely started working with more songwriters. You know, as we've matured, we like to bring in like one other guy to bounce off like the brother dynamic, because he sees something, he sees an idea one way, and I see an idea like the other way, and but then a medium, you know, a guy in the middle can see both of us. And so we found that it's really helpful, and it helps the dynamic. But usually before we even get to the, hey, let's record this idea, I just jam out, man. I pick my guitar up, I'll scroll through different effects and pedals, and I don't know. That's like my way of just kind of expressing. I don't.
Yeah. Are you kind of are you trying to like let it come to you in a way, or are you more? Are you going towards it?
Yeah. There's a lot of musicians I know and writers and producers where they're like, dude, I have this riff in my head, and then they go and they just play the riff. And I've always just been like, just give me the guitar and the riff will come out.
I see.
Yeah, I've never really been like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go try and figure that out now. It's just always been like, just give me the guitar. I don't know. I've always been other than supposed when it comes to, you know, a lot with guitar players, especially professional guitarists. They take their tone very seriously. They're like nerds. You know, maybe that's the wrong word to use, but it's like every little thing is dialed in, and they know what pedal and what guitar does what, and I'm just like, dude, just give me a guitar.
Chaos theory.
Yeah. Make sure it's loud, and give me distortion, and then just play a beat, and like I will make you a riff, right? You know, and I don't know, like just trust. Yeah. Let's go. Let's rock. I guess it's just organic or something. But that's kind of how the process for me, the songwriting process, and just come up with riffs. And then, sometimes people will come up with a idea. Okay, I have this line that I want to work with, and then they build a song around the line. And that's actually like a very good way to do it now as I've grown as a songwriter. But for the longest time, it's like I just create music. I'll create something that's catchy to me out of the ether, and then I'll write on top of it. So that's how a lot of Otherwise music started, where I would create the music and then present it to my brother and our band, and then we would go from there.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And then from there, when you're creating an album, how do you know which songs that how do you go agree upon which songs are going to be on the album, which songs to kick off the album?
Yeah.
Is there a theme on the album or anything like that?
Yeah. There's definitely themes, it's fun. That's kind of the fun part of being an artist, kind of deciding like, okay, are we just gonna, there's been times where a lot of our albums, it's just a collection of all the songs all the ideas we have, it's not like we're writing some concept record, but that's always been a possibility. There a lot of artists write concept records, or they come up with a story, or they come up with this this imaginary place, and then that's the record. And a lot of bands we take inspiration from, it's just, dude, this is just what we write. Like there's a hard song, and then there's a ballad, there's a mosh pit song, and then there's a song you can sing to your grandma, and that's actually kind of proved to be detrimental for us in some aspects. When we've dealt with A&Rs and record labels and other people's opinions, and they're like,
the fans love it, but the business doesn't.
Yeah, they're like, dude, we can't, it's too soft, or be harder, or it's like I could go on and on about the frustrations we've dealt with in the industry, but the writing process is where it's pure.
Yeah.
And it's creative, it's the creative process. So we've taken this on this last record that we did. It was called Godzillionaire.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this idea. It came from the word, like my brother had this word that he came up with that he, just like, this is a cool word. And I'm like, dude, I love that word. What does it mean? And it's like, okay, from there we started to like build this concept of an album. Like, let's touch on this stuff that could go under this umbrella of Godzillionaire.
Wow. Yeah. Is the creative space, do you find the most joy in that when you're just playing a riff, or you're maybe trying to find a song, or you're writing to music? Do you find that to be a happy place in music for you, as opposed to all the other things that come with
yeah,
it?
Definitely. That's probably one of the saving graces for at least trying to be a professional musician, is the creative space. But even that can get hindered and can get poisoned by other people's opinions,
Yeah.
And depending on how you have your business set up as an artist and who controls your rights, a lot of artists sign away their freedoms, really. So then it's like, okay, that creative space that's supposed to be, the sanctuary is actually getting opinions thrown on it, and getting, hey, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you feel this way about the song, but we don't like it. Or change that word. What do you mean change that word? Like, dude, this is what the song's, what are you talking about? I don't like it. Yeah. So even it's murky waters, man. That's why you meet so many artists and musicians who are like really jaded and disenchanted by the whole process.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Is on the song front, is there a particular song or that you remember that was difficult to write, or is there emotionally challenging, anything like that are there songs like that for you, or is it all come with, I don't want to say easy, but you just try to get to that creative space as quickly as possible and just wait for things to come?
No, yeah, my brother's the only one who cries when we're writing music. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, there's been a handful of tough songs that we've written. Let's see. There's been a handful. And that's kind of the I mean, it's like therapy. That's we in the last few records we had a song called "Picking at Bones" off of our record "Defy." That was pretty tough. We kind of dove into the relationship of our parents and what we feel was their relationship and how, you know, they did their best to hold things together or not, or whatever it was, you know, like it was our expression of understanding, you know, the ups and downs of us growing up and our family. So, you know, there are some songs that hit pretty hard like that. You know, there was a song we wrote called 60 Miles Per Hour. And yeah, it was probably one of the coolest experiences. I'll quickly go into it, but I had this guitar riff that I put together, and the song was written literally in like a day. It was a really cool process of how it happened. We were on tour. When we signed our record deal, when we first left Las Vegas, we were gone for like 22 months. We just like left, and we were just touring. And I was going through like the first breakup, like real breakup that I was going through. And our cousin had passed away, and we just like left. So we were like signed, rock and rolling, #1 song on satellite radio, but we were like pretty beat up inside. Like we didn't know what the hell was going on. And one day I wrote a Facebook post. I just said, I sleep at 60 miles per hour because on the bus, you know, flying down the highway. I was like, if I'm sleeping at 60 miles per hour, how fast am I living? You know, like how fast is life actually going by? And, you know, like drunken post I put up, you know, like the melodramatic 23-year-old, you know. But then we came home from that tour, and our dad was like, I saw that post you wrote, son. Like, I wrote some lyrics to your dad, you know. And we had this riff, and I was like, this is great, you know. My brother was like, Dad, this is awesome, you know. And
does he get a writing credit on the
album? I feel bad. No, he didn't get one. What the fuck? We took it, man. We've taken a handful of our dad's lyrics. He's a good poet. That's where we get our writing from. But yeah, we wrote this song at the table, and my brother, we had this bridge, and I was like, I'm playing this part on the guitar, and it's a beautiful finger picking part, and we're like trying to figure out the bridge, where the bridge is like where you stray away from the point of the song just for a moment, and then you come back. And he said this line, one day we'll meet in Vegas at one of our favorite places. And then he's just like, I hope you smile. Like when I see you again, like one day we'll meet again. And when we do, I hope that you smile. And I was just, it like hit me so hard. We're sitting at our dining table at the house we grew up in, with my mom sitting there, my dad. And I was just like, damn it. I was like, God damn it, man. That's so good. And I just started crying because I was still going through this break, you know, like guitar in hand. And like, then he started crying. My brother started crying. And then my mom was like, my sons are crying. I'm going to cry, you know? And then it was like, it's one of the most classic memories ever, because the three of us are like, I'm just like, fuck, it's so good, dude. Like, God damn it, man. And then my dad's like, all of you are crying. Like, I'm going to cry. And we all like shared a tear over music, you know? And that's like one of the coolest memories I'll hold. So it's like a priceless moment, like no matter what happens. You know, so when you ask about tough songs, you know, that's one that definitely sits up there.
Yeah. I think like knowing a lot about your family, just being one of those guys you kind of grew up around, you have a cool, diverse like background. And so like go into that a little bit, like talk about like your dad, where he's from, where your mom's from, like what their background is, because I feel like
our background is definitely other than supposed.
Yeah,
you know?
that's definitely the next album title. Other than supposed. You know, like,
man. It really, because that it's true, because a lot of people are like, dude, you guys are like, I thought you were just like tan white guys. You know, we're like, no, dude, I get stopped at the airport every time I go through security. Okay, you know, and our family is of Indian, Middle Eastern descent. You know, my brother and I are first generation Americans. Our dad is Irish, and so we have this Irish Indian mix. You know, and it's pretty. It's an interesting mix of passion, a lot of passion. You know,
Yeah.
almost to our detriment sometimes. But yes, there
But it's the most American thing ever, right?
totally, man. And that's I'm like, now I'm getting growing and building out my place in this life, and I'm a proud ass American, man. You know, and I'm like, dude, we're the American dream. Our parents legally immigrated here, and we got to go rock and roll because it was just like we would have been in turbans in the sand, you know, like if in a really bad place, or just buried in the sand, because where they were at the time is third world country, and like there is such thing as religious persecution. You know, it's going on. There's wars. You know, like Americans and people in our society don't really understand. But not saying that I've been there and I really understand, but I grew up with it. You know, and I could feel it. It's in my blood.
Yeah, it's closer to you.
It's very close.
And your parents are both like very in tune with what's going on where they're from. You know,
Yeah.
they want to know what's going on at home. So
Yeah.
you guys have felt that, where like a lot of Americans, they're not getting it firsthand. They don't
Yeah.
understand really what's going on. So
Yeah. You know, when U.S. embassies were bombed, and that like slowed down the immigration process for my own family. You know, it's like we've been through some interesting things to get here, and it's totally, you're so right, JL, about the American dream of like coming here the way that the country says you have to come here, you know, and abiding by the laws, getting here, and then, you know, getting the chance to do something that only few on this planet could dream of doing. You know, the band, my brother and I still have this conversation every day, or at least every other time we talk. You know, we're like, man, things could have, if only, shoulda, coulda, woulda, this, that. You know, we're not the Imagine Dragons or the U2 or the big bands, but we have done some really amazing things. So the rest of our careers is really understanding that and understanding what we've been able to do, and just continuing to fight. Because for a long time, that's how we treated our band and our music. It was like, we're fighting for something.
Yeah.
That's how the song Soldiers came about.
That's an interesting approach. Yeah. It's funny because when I think of your band, I think of that song for some reason. I don't know why. I think I was close to it when you guys were making the video.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably why that song is something that
yeah, we had Shane. Shane was in it.
Yeah.
For, Sin City CrossFit, man.
Yeah, it was cool the way you guys did that video too, because I thought it was going to be something totally different.
Yeah.
And you kind of made it like almost everyday people.
Yeah, and you know, it's a lot of people were. There was a bit of
dissension among the fans.
Within the band or the fans?
The fans.
Okay.
Well, it was, you know,
You imagine it as like a military, you know, situation, and you know, wars and battles, and like the song is very much written that way. But you guys definitely went in a different direction.
Well, and that was the thing too. Is like, we're civilians, and we did what artists do. We took inspiration from the military and tried to understand what it's like, because we needed that at the time. We needed a song like that because we were kind of spinning our wheels in Las Vegas as the local heroes, the local bar band heroes, that when a big band would come to town, the promoters would put us on the show because we would pack the place. But then we would go and showcase for labels, and we weren't getting signed. We were getting really frustrated come 2010, 2011, and then that song came. That, you know, I had the riff, and the riff itself was inspired by Last of the Mohicans.
Oh yeah.
You might hear it now that you know. You see, that's like where I got the inspiration. It's like my one big amazing guitar riff that I had that started the song. And that song, that, you know, we were like, dude, this is our battle cry. We got to keep going. You know, we got to keep pressing on. Ironically enough, that was a song that, got put on satellite radio and then went to number one. And I think we still have that title as being the first unsigned band to have a number one song on satellite
Kind of
radio.
badass in a way,
Yeah, it's cool. I mean,
yeah.
it's a talking point.
So after that song came, and it was a pretty big success. What happened after that?
Yeah, so we that song hit, and then of course the labels wanted to sign us immediately. A handful came in, and we took a deal with Century Media Records, and I think a lot of artists can, hindsight, it's 2020. Yeah, it's like maybe we should have done this. Maybe we, but we just, again, we have to just realize that everything we went through, there's a lesson behind it, and there was good things in all of it. So, we signed a deal. We signed away our publishing. We signed away a lot of things to get the opportunity, the money to go record a record in LA and get on the road and kind of get plugged into the matrix, to where like there's people making phone calls now like, hey, they're in, so take them on the road, or hey, we got big management. And it turned into a whirlwind though, because we were trying so hard, and our cousin Ivan, it's so ingrained. His death is so ingrained into our band. Like all our fans, if we had a fan, I'm going on a little tangent now, but one of our fans like named their kid Ivan, Wow. And so going back to the song Soldiers and our band, my brother, like, dude, Ivan grew up with us. He was just like there.
And he definitely like transcends this life, and he was that kind of a person.
Yeah. And so he passed away. He died tragically on Halloween of 2011. We had just seen him like 10 days before at a really big show. And we played the Luxor, where Route 91 or Route 1.
Route 91.
Route 91, right in that parking lot. There was a fest called 48 Hours Fest. And we got to open the main stage, and we're the local guys, and we were hungry. And he was on the stage with an otherwise flag. And that's the last time we got to see him, was on the big stage. And he passed away. And then he sang on the song Soldiers. So the vocals, the chant at the end that everybody sings, his vocals are on that song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he passed away. And then all of a sudden there was like a spike, and the song had just come out. It didn't really do much. We were like, oh, it's big and it's going to be huge. We released it on 9/11 of 2011. And it really didn't, it was like a local band release. There wasn't much to it. But then 48 Hours Fest took place, and that was in October. That was October 17th. Jose Mangan, we met him out there. We told him about the song. He loved the song. He loved the band. And he put it on Octane. And this was all happening. I mean, our cousin Ivan went to get the CD that had, at that time, it was our MySpace. It's like, check us out on MySpace. And we had a song called Vegas Girl. And that was actually like the song that's the song. Soldiers was good, but it was like longer. It's like a 4-minute song, 4.5-minute song. But I mean, it was starting to pick up. People were like, wow, man, the band's like, you guys are doing some good stuff. And he got the CD. We gave it to Jose. Jose loved it. He put it on. He just spun it, and like lightning in a bottle. People were like, dude, what song is this? So it just started picking up. And then Ivan passed away, and then we signed. It's like he died, and we're like, what the hell's going on? And the song's blowing up. Now we're getting label attention. Now we're going to LA, and we're like, dude, what? I remember.
It shouldn't be the best time of your life, right? When you lost somebody that was like so
it was really weird.
And
it was really other than supposed. As far, like our dreams were coming true, quote unquote. Like the deal was right in front of us. And I remember like signing the deal and just sitting there like, dude, what, 5 weeks after, just like not knowing what the hell's going on.
Life is a fickle bitch, bro.
Oh man, it's so weird. It really, the stuff that we've been through, it's going to be really good for stories,
Yeah.
But man, going through it, it's just weird, so we hit the road. We after that, after the song blowing up, we got we signed a deal. We were in the studio. We went to LA to record True Love Never Dies. True Love Never Dies was a tattoo that Ivan had across his neck. And so we named the album after him. Really big album, you know, like it was really big for us. You know, it could have been bigger. I feel like there was a lot of accountability. I think, you know, if you ask questions, hey, what about the industry? There's not a lot of accountability.
That was gonna be my next question, by the way.
With labels, you know, with labels and managers, and it's never their fault. You know,
are those some of the biggest challenges you faced, you know, pre and post signing, with the band, or just the business side of things? Because I guess you wouldn't know what it's like when you sign till you actually sign and go through it, and then you, like you said, you spoke a little bit about lessons learned, but were some of the biggest challenges after you signed?
Yeah, I would probably because things started getting bigger, you know, and the responsibility, and like the band, the brand, you know, this was like our dreams are like becoming true, and so it definitely was becoming more of a challenge. But we were also, we were pretty effed up in the head too.
Yeah,
you know, my brother and Ivan were really close, and that fucked us up, you know. And so a lot of people were expecting us to have our heads on straight, you know, and like we weren't even that way to begin with. You know? Like my brother started. It was a little different for me. He started the band we have the same intentions, you know, the same desires and beliefs about the band, but then we also have like different reasons of why we do it, or why we've done it, you know. My brother's like a true rebel. He wanted to rage against the machine and start a rock band. Like he didn't want to conform to listening to these guys in suits and guys who can't make a song to save their lives tell him how he needed to be. But at times, you know, it was like, hey, dude, we're not like, just calm down a little bit, you know? So it was like a fair balance. But between him and I, also, I'm the classically trained guitarist, where I had the opportunity to understand music on a deeper level. So like, I'm happy just strumming my guitar now, and like, I could just be a fly on the wall in like a nice restaurant and just like play if I'm playing guitar. Like I find a lot of solace in it. But yeah, we had a lot of struggles with dealing with managers and labels, and it's been really hard to make those relationships work.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you find anything on the management side or the business side? Did you learn anything that you could take that was of value, or did you always just feel like people were just taking from you?
No, yeah, you got to kind of grow up a little bit and understand that there is good, you know, there's a lot of stuff that they do.
Yeah.
Or there's a lot of stuff that they could be doing.
Accountability.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they could be doing and that maybe they would be doing. It's just a catch-22. It's like, dude, if you don't make them a lot of money, or you're like not their first, you know, it's like, then you're not getting the first tier, you know, services.
You're not getting that concierge.
Yeah.
I got no white gloves on for you.
Not, you know, and it's, or they're not digging in. They're not getting their hands dirty. Really. It's like, dude, we need, like, why am I getting us the biggest shows? You know, like, why did I get us the biggest shows? What did my brother and I and our relationships get us the two biggest shows last year, you know, that we played, you know, besides festivals, like actual shows where it's just us on the bill with the headliner. Well, you know, because our heart's in it, our passion's in it, we're going and we're seeking those out, you know, we're putting in the extra time in. But there's other things that they do, you know, managers have like they should just come with like, you know, when you're like playing a video game and you see the fighters, or you see like what their stats are, like manager, like I can do this and like, that's it, you know? And it's like, well, I can get you on Twitch. I can get you, you know, a tour that's gonna, you know, keep you busy, and maybe you might maybe something will happen, and I can get you a graphic designer, you know, and you should know that to begin with. But when you sign with a manager or you sign with a team, there's a lot that goes in there's a lot a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things that need to happen to break an artist or to keep an artist relevant and keep them pushing, keep the brand pushing, keep the product going. And it goes back to that accountability. I think that's something that definitely a lot of the professionals on the management side, that they lack that, because it makes them look bad or something, or it's very easy to just brush it off, and it's the
artist's fault.
It's the artist's fault. You know, like, we'll celebrate your successes, but we're not a part of your failures. Yeah, you know, and so it's like, oh, okay, man, this is going to cause a lot of resistance in our relationship. You know, this is going to cause a lot of friction. You know, I'm okay. I'm okay with, hey, you fumbled it. Let's get the next one. But when you're not even admitting that you fumbled it, and now I have to like say that I fumbled it, it's crazy, man. Yeah. And, you know, and there's nothing unique about what my brother and I have been through. Yeah. As far as that.
Doesn't feel like you're on the same team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're dealing with a coach that is coaching a lot of teams.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, like, we can't have like 5 managers. Yeah. You know, you get in trouble. You can't have 5 booking agents.
But that one manager will have 20 bands that they're like supposedly working hard for. Yeah. And there's only, you know, so much bandwidth.
Yeah. And, you know, there are a lot of things that they do that is great, you know, that helps. I'm not going to be an angry, bitter guy.
That's Adrian's rule.
yeah. I try to find, you know, like, okay, all right, there is a lot of good stuff, because as we've progressed and grown in our careers, I've taken on more and more responsibility, and I've seen how much it actually takes. What a manager should be doing and what they are doing. It's a lot, you know, from like setting up tours, setting up music releases, maintaining bands, you know, or maintaining members, keeping the band and the unit together, dealing with record labels. It's quite the journey, man.
I had brought this up to Ben when we were getting ready for this, and this is kind of probably a good time to bring it up. Do you feel like, or have you ever seen a situation where like an artist has become that really good management and that good mentor for up and coming people? Like, is perhaps there a Jerry Maguire moment for you and your brother where when you're done with music, you can, you know, foster the next generation of artists?
Yeah. That is essentially what Life by Music is.
Boom.
So you want to elaborate a little bit
drop
on what that is, Ryan?
Life by Music is a 501c3 that I am the head of now. So I am the executive director of this nonprofit organization, and it started off just as a motto. Like, I got it tattooed on me, you know, like, Life by Music, man. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep rocking. Life by Music. It was a hashtag on Facebook, you know. And again, it was like one of those mantras, like, dude, we're not gonna ever give up, because Life by Music, Life by Music. And so it started off as a T-shirt. You know, I was like, all right, we're in the industry. We're starting our next album, Peace at All Costs. And it's just like, man, this industry is messed up, dude. Like, it's dark. Like, we got in this to like spread like light and positivity and empowerment and rock and roll and fun, you know? Yeah, sure. But it was just like, man, there's so many frauds and liars and deceitful, ugly human beings. And you see like so many amazing artists and musicians that they've been destroyed by it, and they're just talented. They're so talented and such beautiful people. So it's like, man, we got to figure something out here. So it's like, okay, Life by Music, what should we do? I wanted to create like a movement, you know. It's like big. Oh, dude, it's gonna be huge. We're gonna change the world, man. And so we started with a T-shirt, and it was called Earth Jam Band. It had Jesus on a dinosaur. Jesus was he was shredding on guitar, Jesus Christ, and he was sitting on top of a T-Rex that was playing the snare. So if you can kind of like picture that, you know, it's like Earth's Jam Band, like music brings everybody together.
Yeah.
You know, like all the concepts. This is this idea. I was like, oh, Jesus on a dinosaur, and they're rocking out together. And so we had a shirt and we like made some instrumental music and we were like selling that on the side. We created this album, my buddy and I, one of our co-writers, and we were on tour and we had the shirt up at the merch booth in El Paso, and we were just kind of like pushing this idea now, like, hey man, wear the shirt, like you're a lifer, like you believe in the positive power of music. And I met this guy, and really interesting character named James Stewart out in El Paso, and he was like, hey, you could just tell. I'm like, this guy's got a couple zeros in the bank. I mean, I could just tell, you know, and I wasn't wrong. And he's like, he's like, hey, you should turn this. What is this Life by Music thing? And I'm like, well, you know, it's this movement, man, and music, dude. It's gonna save the world, man. And he's like, you should turn it into a nonprofit. You should turn this into a 501c3. I'm like, dude, what's that? It sounds cool. like what's a 501c3, man? That sounds. But then, you know, I'm like arrogant or something. I'm just like, dude, running a nonprofit, that sounds great. You know, I love that idea. I want to give back. I've wanted to help. I wanted to do something different forever, be a peacemaker or whatever. And so this just kind of, it was like a light bulb moment. And so we fast forward, we got the tax exemption status. I worked with the law school at UNLV, and they got us they went through the process with the IRS, and we kind of dialed back the Jesus on a dinosaur and kind of rebranded to focus on youth. Like they're like, okay, yeah, we get it. Life by Music. Okay. You want to help, but how? Get specific.
Yeah.
Like get specific. Don't, you know, I'm like, okay, for sure. And so we started working with the Boys and Girls Club. And I wanted to create this event for the kids, and so we were playing at Club Madrid at Sunset Station. We had a residency there somewhat, and we were playing there, and so we figured, how about we get the kids to come to the Sunset Station to Club Madrid. We'll teach them how to play guitar. They'll walk around the stage. They'll see what's going on. We'll do some painting and coloring with them in the venue. Then we'll take them to the buffet. Boom, Life by Music. Like that's like, you get to live Life by Music. You get to meet the artists. And so we had a handful of guitars. We all the band members, my brother and I, and a couple of our guys, we sat down with the kids, and E minor chord. Okay, that's how I teach. I start everybody on the E minor chord. It's like a beautiful, dark, easy chord. And I could teach it to you guys in 2 seconds, and it's awesome. So many songs are written on the with the E minor chord, you know. And so I'm like, what do I? So E is for equality, right? And I just say E, like is for equality to these kids. And I'm like, okay, whatever. We do a little jam session, and then I was like, okay, there's something to that. So I'm gonna A through G. Those are the notes, you know, in Western music. We have 7 notes, and we had equality. So we had E for equality. And then I started trying to think of these like positive virtues. So it's like, how could we teach the other chords? So then it was like attitude, bravery, compassion, discipline, equality, friendship, gratitude. And then I'm like, let's make characters. Let's have animals attached to these. So I came up with these virtues and then these animals. So the attitude alligator, the bravery bear, the compassionate cow, the disciplined duck. Like this is how we're introducing the notes to these kids. Now, when we're doing this focused effort of, hey, how do we share music? How do we make music save lives? Okay, well, let's focus on music education and educating the youth through music. At least getting the spark going. You know, like if we get to be the people who some kid remembers, like, dude, that bearded guy with the ponytail, you know, like showed me the guitar one time, and like then I joined the band, or then I started listening to this song and guitar, and that song inspired me to go to med school. You know, it's like that spark. So that was like what we were thinking. Okay, and so then we created a coloring booklet, that was our first like foyer into really being an organization that doesn't just hand a guitar, take a picture, and then the guitar, collects dust in the corner. It was like leave the kids with something tangible that they can take home and study. So we created a booklet, Life by Music, presented Guitar Magic, and so that's like our flagship like educational piece. It's a cool coloring book. I think your girls have one.
Definitely.
And so it's been great. We've given out about 500 of those now.
Awesome.
You know, and so we go to schools. We're going a lot to schools, and pretty much about an hour. We go spend like first grade classes, second grade classes, ages 4 to about 9. Present each character has a poem. We created a poem. So like in the booklet, you can like read attitude, like whether you're feeling nice or rude, it's always you who controls the mood. Be mindful of the things you do and the words you use. This is attitude. So that's like the attitude. That's what the alligator's teaching. And then there's the chord or the note. And it shows you where you put your hand on the guitar.
Yeah.
And so that's what we would teach. And we go in and we go through and then we color, we give them some candy, let them strum the guitars, and that's the most exciting part for me. I was at a Boys and Girls event yesterday, and, it still excites me. Like it actually makes me really happy when there is a physical change in a kid's face when they realize that they can make the sound off the guitar, and they strum the guitar. It's like, whoa, it is something really powerful, and it is really something that can change the world in a positive way, note by note. And so that's really what we've been focused on for the last like 5 years, 4 or 5 years now, with Life by Music, just building slowly, brick by brick. How do we continue our outreach? And we've had amazing sponsors come in, and we have an event next month, actually, our annual fundraiser. We've had amazing sponsors. Jay Hill has sponsored our organization for years, and that's how we've done it. We've just had a big network of people who support me, my brother, and our belief in what we're doing. And now I've grown and like becoming that Jerry Maguire of like, okay, I got to put effort into the service.
Yeah.
Like I've been blessed with being able to play guitar for so long and have all this experience in the industry, and now I have to do more with it. And so it's not just youth anymore either with Life by Music. I could go on with LBM for a while, but we did recently start a veterans outreach program. So I'm 3 weeks into teaching veterans now. We created the Shoulder to Shoulder songwriting and music course where I've supplied 15 veterans with guitars, and we meet every Tuesday and Thursday, and I just teach them how to play. And I'm teaching them the art of the jam, so that they can use music as a tool, or they can have it. Because for me, guitar has always been a place of solace for me.
And it's probably an outlet for a lot of them dealing with the things that, happen to them in the service. So.
Totally. And that's the hopes. That's the hopes, is that we can offer them something else that might help them more than, some prescribed scenario or just not having anything, and in the last 4 classes I've seen, they're really happy, they're stoked too. It's cool now, not just seeing youth get excited, but seeing these grown individuals, and it ranges, from 40 to 60 age group, and it's all different branches of the military, and it's a great group, and they're very grateful. They're very grateful for what we're doing. And it's cool for me too, because I'm like, oh dude, I'm teaching a course, but this course is going to relate to our teenage, our youth outreach. Like, it's just, we're building it. You can use beginning guitar for veterans. You can use it for teenagers too.
Oh, cool.
And you can use it for everybody.
It's universal.
Yeah. So it's been great, man. And that's a bit of otherwise created Life by Music. Like, where did Life by Music come from? Is chicken or the egg? Everything that happened with Otherwise and all our successes was because we were so determined to live a life by music. And now, as my brother and I navigate our careers as independent artists, which is really exciting, which is like new news, which is recently developed. As we navigate this new chapter in the Book of the Wise, Life by Music is really, really kicking off, and now I have to really focus in. I can't pretend that I'm doing it anymore. It's legit. And I'm like, oh man, I'm the executive director, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
I asked for it and I got it.
Yeah.
And now I have to show up.
It's kind of a whole new set of responsibilities for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of books. Or I'm like, because I don't want to get caught slipping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want any. I'm doing this. It feels right. It's a new arena, but I'm gonna come correct. And there's so much opportunity. We have so much support, and people believe us because our track record's real, man. You see us on stage, we don't have makeup on. We don't have it's just me. Dude, I wear this on stage. So I just get we're honest dudes. We're a little crazy, but we're honest, and we've been blessed with the opportunity. Our parents gave us this opportunity, the American dream. We're still living it. So Life by Music is a totally a product of the American dreams, which makes it even more important to make it succeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. I love it.
It sounded like we were about to get an exclusive. You dropping some info about you guys doing some singular things.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get into it. We can cut this part out if we need us to. But.
No, dude. That's all good. Yeah. Yeah. This is my brother and I are independent artists for the first time since we were local guys.
Well, congratulations to that.
Yeah. Thank you, man. It is really a big deal. For one, we've wanted it for a really long time. We spent our whole lives trying to get a record deal. And then as soon as we got a record deal, we spent our whole lives trying to get out of those record deals. And we're kind of foolish, It's like dangling the golden carrot. We had one record deal and we jumped right into another one, And that's 5 years of your life. Boom. All right, you signed the deal. It's either a great contract or it's a sentence. And I don't want to say that it was all bad, but it's very exciting. Who knows? Maybe we needed to stay under the the guidance of a label. Maybe we'll see. Yeah. But my brother and I did not feel that is what we needed. So we were granted that. We were helped. We have a tremendous lawyer. I know one of the talking points was what would you recommend to younger artists? Yeah. And what I would recommend is having a tremendous lawyer. Lawyers are the secret to the music industry. I'll drop that on you right there. You know what I mean? They really are. They are very powerful, especially when they're good. Yeah. They're more than just the guys who read the contracts and create the contracts. So I would say have a really great lawyer. We have a really great lawyer. I'm actually going to meet him right now at the game. He's a big Raiders fan. But yes, it's very exciting to be independent finally. And we'll see what comes next, because now we can record whatever we want, whenever we want, however we want. And, that could be our biggest, it could go either which way. Yeah. My brother and I could go off on some crazy tangent and be like, dude, check out our, indie folk death metal reggae song that we just created, this, and people are like, what? Yeah. Or we just finally get to make an otherwise song where no one else is telling us, oh, don't do that. Or, oh, yeah, okay, great song. We'll release it in 15 months. Yeah. So.
I was, I'm sorry, Jacob. I was just going to ask, you guys were also playing at a time when social media wasn't really a thing like it is today, and the platforms that allow you to be more independent, totally, and not have to be signed to an artist, I think, are now presenting themselves to you guys in a way that I'm sure you guys are trying to take advantage of. Or do you want to speak to any of that stuff that?
Yeah, as far as social media, that's one thing that's what lured us to believing that, hey, you can be independent. We put in the sweat equity and the blood equity of hitting the road and meeting the fans, and I would say that if we were consistent and savvy independent artists, we have our 1,000 true fans. That's all you need. to really have a career. And there's articles written on it. It's it's a great theory. 1,000 true fans, and my brother and I do have them. But with social media, everybody's attention spans like, dude, I love your, it's like, we've met people on the road are like, dude, what have you guys been doing, man? I'm like, dude, we've been releasing music. Where have you been, dude? like, what's up, man? We've been doing stuff, dude. So people's attention spans are definitely, they might love the band. Yeah. Dude, people love us, man. Well, if we get on a stage in front of 10,000 people, dude, they're like, holy crap, we love you. But then they forget and they're on to the next thing, so.
Tell them how many people that you can confirm have a tattoo based on your band on their body. It's crazy. It's like,
yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of people. It's really cool. The Phoenix man, and that,
like ballpark that.
Probably at least 20 people, God. But people have my brother's signature tattooed on him, like his lyrics, his handwriting, and so it runs deep, and they're good people. They're not crazy people yet.
And I feel like you guys have always been like very relatable.
Yeah.
You're real people.
Yeah.
And when you go to a show, you get an opportunity to meet the person that's on stage.
Yeah.
And that's again part of your like grassroots.
Yeah, my brother's really good with that, Like I can sometimes be the guy who's like, yeah, good to see you. Yeah, like thanks. Like I gotta go. Like because I need my headspace. Like I can't share too much energy because it'll just drain me. Where my brother will have a shot and say hello and talk to you about your kids and your family, like with every fan.
And then he's going home to meet the kids at 11:30 and cook breakfast. And, it just never ends. Like his energy's never ending.
How have you dealt with like fans and fame? How have you navigated those waters, you and your brother? Has that been difficult, or is that a monster in and of itself?
Yeah, it definitely is. I would say we've had we're like C+ celebrities. Like we've had our. I'm at Boys and Girls Club yesterday for Kids Day Out, and it's like autograph signing with Ryan Patrick. So I'm like giving 5-year-olds my signature. It's like, you want a poster, buddy? But there has been times, I was on the cover of Guitar Player magazine. Shit was cool, and it's for guitar players. That's a big deal, man. It's a big deal, and I wouldn't say that. It definitely does go to your head when you're there, Yeah. But it's so fickle. It's just like a high, It's like, okay, whatever. You guys are all full of shit. You're all full of it. Everybody's full of it.
There's no substance there, in that.
There isn't.
Yeah.
There isn't. It's cool though, and it can lead to success, which can then lead to good things. So there's so many aspects of this career where I'm just trying to redefine how I look at it, my perspective. Because it's really cool. Because I'm so stressed out at times, but then I think about things that are going on in other parts of the world. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I get to stress out about this.
It's a great perspective, man.
I'm trying, man.
Yeah.
We're trying.
Yeah. Well, Brian, this has been amazing. I appreciate you coming on. This has probably been one of my favorite podcasts I've done, buddy. So
Sweet,
I really
man.
mean that, man.
Yeah,
so,
hell yeah. Thank you, dude.
I appreciate it, and hopefully you can come on again sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. We have I don't know when you guys are going to post this, but we do have Life by Music's annual fundraising weekend on November 11th and 12th.
Okay.
So we do a 5K run at Sunset Park.
Yep.
The morning of November 11th, Saturday. And then that night we play at the Beverly Theater. So Otherwise Plays, it's like a concert celebration. And then the next day, it's a big weekend. We'll probably split it up next year. But the next day, November 12th, is our Rock and Swing charity golf tournament.
Awesome.
So it's the LBM
Who knew golf
weekend.
could be rock and roll, man?
Dude, you just bring a bottle out to the course, dude.
Break a couple clubs, hit a couple windows.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, count me in, man. I'll be there for sure. I'll be there, buddy.
Awesome, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it again. Thank you.
Powerful.
Alpha.